All right, good morning, everybody. James here, and this is going to be a quick lesson on the Squeeze Pro indicator, the early entry indicator that I use a lot. Mainly, this is my go-to indicators that I use for my small account challenge, where we are up with like 17 winners or 20-something winners. Let's take a quick look here and see. Where are we at? Yeah, 21 winners, 7 losers. So this is what I use to make my day trades. It's highly accurate, and I just want to touch basis on it so you guys get an idea on how to use it. Excuse me. So I will also use this occasionally for when I do my normal trading, my spreads, but mainly on the daily, and it's really got to be a perfect setup. So let's get started here. I have 9 charts all just on one screen. They all have the same indicator on it. They're mainly the ones that I trade the most. We have the 5, 15, 30, 39, 1 hour, 78, 130, 195, and the daily chart. All right. I'm going to go here to a 78-minute chart just because this is the one that's more shows all the indicators that I typically look for. Okay. So just a quick overview of what you see on my chart. First is the IVR, that's self-explanatory. Then this label here is the ATR, which is your average true range. I did have it customized so I can get an idea on how much it's already moved for the true range of the chart you're on. Okay, and then what you see here in gray, pink, and yellow is the squeeze stats, or the pro stats from John Carter. And it pretty much just lets you know a quick summary of the stats for the squeeze that it's currently in, right? Or not in, just where the average is. So you can see here the low squeezes typically, in Boeing on the 78-minute chart, it's fired short more than it's fired long. It's ran about 10 bars at an average of $10. So you can kind of look at that here. The medium squeeze, this one's fired long 4 times and short once, and ran about 6 bars for $10. So it gives me just a quick overview on the time frame that I'm on. If it's in a squeeze, what I can look to expect out of that. All right. Then looking at the actual chart, 200-day, don't worry about that. I have Bollinger Bands on here. And then what you see first is the multicolored bars. That's called the early entry signals from John Carter. Okay, I'll touch on those in a minute. Then you can see these blue and yellow. These are trend reversals. Just gives me an indicator of possibility the trend reversing. Okay. The other arrows that you see that will range from black, red, and I think orange are the pro signals, also from John Carter, which is another early indicator to let you know, hey, the trend may be reversing and heading in the other direction. All right, I have 3 moving averages. They're all EMAs. They are the 8 is green, red is 21, and purple are 34 EMAs. Okay. Then down here is the actual Squeeze Pro indicator from John Carter, and then I just have the TTM wave for trend confirmation as well. So that's what you see. Those are the same ones on every single chart. Okay, and we're gonna get back here to the 78-minute. So what I look for when I start scanning is I try to look for an early entry indicator. Now, the red, blue, light blue, and yellow that you see on the chart, that's the early entry indicator itself. And what I look for is let me back up a little bit. Okay, so light blue is cyan. I think it's cyan, right? And dark blue are signals that it's trending up right now. Light blue, okay, is a strong trend up. The energy's heading up. Dark blue typically just means that, hey, the momentum is slowing down a little bit. We're still in an uptrend, but it could turn around and reverse and go down. All right, so you can kind of see that briefly right here, where you see on the pro squeeze that it took off. We got the light blue bars, it really ran, and it coincides with the chart on the early entries. Light blue bars, they all match up, and it just runs right up. Then you could see here on the early entry signals, these dark blue bars, it hit before the pro showed it was completely dying off. And then I got my trend reversal, another subject. And we get dark blue bars, I mean, it's still in an uptrend, right? But we're starting to die off. That starts to match right here on the pro. All right. The red and the yellow is the complete opposite. When you get into red, that is that the trend is currently down right now, right? Heading down and strong. Okay, so as you can see here, where we're at, they kind of match up. Here's your red, they all go right along. And this trend on the TTM wave helps with that. And it's really strong. So when you see a negative trend, okay, with light blue bars, and then you see your pro squeeze with dark red and your early indicator in red, this is a strong signal to the downside. So that just means it's heading down, right? Then we get into yellow, energy to the downside's dying off. We could still be heading down. In this case, it was actually starting to head back up. And you can see that here, right? Trend has stopped. We got yellow bars, momentum starting to go back up, still kind of in a downtrend. And then finally, we get confirmation here that we're back in an uptrend. All right. Now, green bars. Green bars mean that we're in a squeeze. We got an early entry signal going on, and that it may be a good time to enter because it could fire and fire strong. So when you look at it here, and this is where I kind of use everything in one, but this green here, okay, we're in a squeeze. We got the early entry signals, and then what it do? It fired and took off. Okay, so that's how I look. That's what I look for. I look for these green bars on whatever time frame that I'm trading. I don't typically enter a trade if it's in a red bar, even though it's in a squeeze, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing so. But for me, I usually only look for green bars. It means it's typically ready to fire, should be firing one way or another, and it's really going to take off. So while that may limit me on the amount of trades I make, you know, some days I don't find any trade, or I'm really struggling to find a trade, and that's because I'm only looking for this green bar. And the green bar's got to be like on your current bar, right? So I may be missing out on some, I may not, but I can tell you right now that I have huge success with only 7 losers by waiting for that green early entry signal. Okay, there is an alert that comes up with it, and it'll pop up on your, you know, wherever you have your normal alerts on TOS, and it says, you know, early entry signal, 78 minute or whatever. Okay, but that's what I look for. Now, the way to enter these trades, and I do believe this is going to be another good prime example, right? So say you're scanning around, and let me see if I have anything. I don't have anything that I can kind of briefly show you. But so say you're scanning around and you get a item on the mic, and you get an alert for an early entry signal. So the confirmations that I rely on to enter these trades are, first and foremost, do I have a green bar? Direction, which way, right? I don't care. Which way is it going? Fine. I got a green bar. Perfect. Okay. Are my moving averages stacked? Now, in this case, right, you can tell the trend is currently down right here. So what I would look for is the 34 above the 21, and is the 21 above the 8. That means we're stacked to the downside. So as you can see here, this purple line is my 34, then I got my 21, and then I got my 8. So right here, we're stacked to the downside. So now I got 2. Am I in a squeeze? Well, obviously yes, because the early entry's there. So we got the squeeze, and it's a red one. I typically trade the medium squeezes. Low squeezes, which are black back here, okay, they're either coming into a squeeze or coming out of a squeeze. So I kind of look to see where they're at. And then you have orange, which are very rare. But so we got the squeeze, and now, okay, we're stacked to the downside. We have an early entry. It's the squeeze negative, because sometimes you'll start seeing these. It's typically more to the upside than the downside, but you may be stacked and ready to go, but your squeeze is actually positive. Okay, that's not the direction I want. I want it to be a negative squeeze on this case. So I want them all lined up. So yes, we got a negative squeeze going on right here. Perfect. So we're negative, we're in a medium squeeze, we're stacked, we got the green bar, and then the trend I don't weigh on too much, more just confirmation, but this is strong to the downside. And then lastly, what are my Bollinger Bands doing? Are they expanding, contracting? Nothing. You can see here I have them color coded. Red means they're contracting, green means they're expanding. So yeah, perfect. Green, we're expanding, we're getting energy out there. So this right here would be my perfect setup. Okay, so had I saw this on this day, perfect entry, take it short. And on the 78 minute, okay, its average run is about 6 bars. Well, here we go. We got in early. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 bars right there. It actually ran quite a few more, and for $10. So this would have been great. You'd get in and you just ride this down until it tells you to get out. And if you see here, if you would have took this play, 330, you could have rode this down 30 points, and it still hasn't even told you to get out yet. All right. Then you start looking for the reversal. So in this case, typically you look to get out when you have a closed bar. Since this is down, you'd want to see a closed bar in yellow. So you can see you ride it all the way down. If you hadn't gotten out yet, you know, you might be looking, okay, well, here's a doji candle. We might be losing trend, right? And then boom, the next, you know, then right towards the end of this day, we got a yellow bar and it closed. So this would be your exit signal to get out. And if you got out here at 310, you just scored a $20 move in 2.5 days. That's not bad. There's your exit signal. All right. Early entry or early out. Okay. Had you waited, you could be way back up here. Sometimes you're like, oh, well, I'm good. I'm going to get out right here at 320. I just made $10, but it still ran some more, right? And you gave up another 10. So that's how I use this indicator. Really good, really high probabilities. So that's you know, that's really it there. Let me touch base a little bit more on these. So you can see we have green. That means it's already fired. We're not in a squeeze anymore. It's doing its thing. Then you got these gray bars, and it's only because it's a background, otherwise they're black. But this is a low squeeze, okay? Good little early entry indicators sometime. Then these red ones, these are your medium squeeze. These are the typical ones that will line up, excuse me, if you have a TTM squeeze, which is the one that is in toss. Okay, those will usually match up with your medium squeezes. Then you have high squeezes, which you can see right here, these orange bars. These are very rare. They don't often come out too much. All right. So again, right, you get into a low squeeze, you have a little bit, you could tell that the energy's dying. We're in yellow, right? Yellow up here kind of confirms it. Then you can see right here, hopefully you can see this. We got a yellow bar came out of its, you know, the squeeze is fired. We got not yellow, a black dot for a low squeeze. So it looks like it might be good. Which direction, we're not sure because the energy came down a little bit. But you wait one more day and it's back to yellow. Got some strong bullish action on this candle. Could be a good trend to get ready. So you could use these as early indicators. In this case, right, the trend is starting to head up. You could enter somewhere around here well before you get the crossovers over here, right? So you can see early entry. I'm going to take it. There's a trend reversal. There's another one that shows possible upward trend. If you would have got in somewhere down here, 341, before actually getting in this case, there's no early entry indicator, but before the moving averages are stacked way over here where you might not get much of a run anymore, this early indicator could have got you, I don't know, 40 points by jumping in down here. Doesn't always happen. This could turn around and fire short. So you gotta have your plans. That's why I typically look for green bars. But in this case, I would have been like, okay, there's no play here because I don't have an early entry. The moving averages aren't stacked until, well, they don't stack at all. So you would miss out if you followed my play. But if you jumped in on the early entry indicator showing, hey, there's a squeeze, the trend's reversing, you could have got 40 points out of that. Okay. So it's really good. I really do like this indicator. It works really well. I can't share it. You do have to buy it. And let me get it up. I'll show you kind of where they are. Excuse me. So you just go to simplertrading.com. You can head over to the indicators. And once you view them all, this is the early entry indicator. That's on my chart. Okay, it's $397. Then you have the Squeeze Pro stats, which are also on my chart. Also for $397, and then you have the Squeeze Pro plus the buy sell in one for $697. So you would need these three here to have an identical setup to match mine. I would recommend calling them if anyone wants these same indicators because it adds up. 7 plus 4 plus another 4, that adds up. That's pretty expensive. I do know a lot of people that have worked out on like 20% off because you're buying multiple indicators. So don't be afraid to give them a call and say, hey, I'm buying 4, is there anything I could do? Can you give me an upgrade, not upgrade, a discount type thing? Okay. But if I had to only pick 2, what I would probably pick is the Squeeze Pro and the early entry indicator. I wouldn't worry about the stats. All right. Out of those 3, I would pick the 2 if you had to pick them. All right. But you can do just as well with just the Squeeze Pro. You won't get the colors, but when I ran with just a TTM Squeeze, I made money. I had really good probabilities as well. So this is just a little bit better. But I would recommend at least the Pro and the early entry. If you have the cash, don't mind it. The stats are helpful, but you're not going to make money off of it. So, all right. But that's it. That's my charts. That's how I use them. If you have any questions, please put them in in comments, excuse me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.